Hi everyone, let's go over my low time frame and micro bullish and bearish Elliott Wave scenarios on Bitcoin. Starting with the low time frame bullish scenario, where we're still looking for a move to the upside in a wave 3 after wave 1 and wave 2 are already finished. Now the two fibs that you see over here, the 886 and the 1.618, those are the two that are lowering the probabilities for this scenario, because the 886 is a rare target for a wave 2 pulled from the low to the high of 1, and the 1.618 is a rare target for a zigzag, which is a 535 structure. So both of these are rare, which therefore lowers the probabilities, and the invalidation of this scenario is price taking the low over here at 29.9k. If we go to the low time frame bearish scenario and focus on yellow first, then we are looking for a WXY scenario, which is a 3-3 and then another 3-wave move, where the most common target area for wave Y is between the 1 and the 1.236. What I don't like about this scenario is that this wave Y over here is very short in time compared to a longer wave X and a much longer wave W. Usually a wave Y is at least the same length in time of wave X, if not comparable to wave W. However, in this case you can clearly see this structure is much thinner compared to the other two. Also, the invalidation of this scenario is at 29.9k, and the other scenario is an expanding flat ABC, which is a 3-3, and then you'd be looking for a 5-wave move to the downside, where the most common target area for wave C is between the two 1.618s over here, which is between 29.1k and 28.4k, also in confluence with the support area around 29k, and a rare target for wave C is the 2.618, where we have a support area in between the common and the rare target at around 28k. The only problem for that particular scenario as it stands now is that this looks like a 3-wave structure, and then we have a very long range. Now it can still be a 1, 2, 3, 4 and then a wave 5, but the wave 5 targets based on Elliott waves are not reaching this target area over here for a wave C. So it's going to be very interesting what's going to happen this week, also with the news event that we have. More about that in a second. If we look at the bars pattern over here, I copied this piece of chart from a little bit of history. And this is a part from the chart where if I scroll back, it's this section over here, right? We were sitting around 20k. We had a sharp move to the downside, then a big horizontal structure where nothing was happening, very shallow, and then a continuation to the downside. And seeing how shallow and long this range is, I was like, well, you know, history, it doesn't repeat itself, but it's good to look at different probabilities and different technical analysis, and this could still be quite interesting for a move to the downside. It is then, however, not an impulsive structure. We then have to label this differently, because this is then a 3-wave structure to the downside in a double zigzag, but it is something we have to keep in mind. And funny enough, the low of this pink structure over here finds then support around the 28k area. If we go to the micro scenario and we start with the bullish scenario, then over here we don't want that low to be taken, which is the low over here at 29.9k. So we are looking for an impulsive structure, right? Now then we have a wave 1, which then is a diagonal, followed by a sideways combo in a WXY, where the most common target area for Y is between the 1 and the 1.236, taken from the high to the low of W to the high of wave X. Very nice indeed, for then continuation to the upside. This little low over here took this low, and even the liquidity below this low over here. So basically all the liquidity has been taken, and going down here once more will definitely mean, I mean, there's no certainties, but the probabilities will be very high. We just continue to the downside. And what is interesting about this scenario is that price is finding support on this target box that we had on the chart already for a long time now, between 30k and 30.1k, 4 times. 1 and then 2, 3, and now is the 4th time already. The question, of course, then is, will it break? Yes or no? Well, also here I have written 1 hour square, because if we go back in time, once again, history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme sometimes, we can find this square over here. And this was around 28k as well in early April this year, where we had a sharp move to the downside, and then we were ranging. And for the ones that remember my videos over here during this time, we also had a target box over here, which was respected a lot of times, as you can see, like once, twice, 3 times, exactly the same target box over here, or 4 times one can argue, or even more. It was respected before then a push to the upside. So we both have a bars pattern, like a piece of history for the downside and the upside. Of course, that can be confusing, but we'll get to the probabilities at the end of this video of the different scenarios. But in this particular scenario, you want this to be the low of wave 2, and you now look for a wave 3 to the upside. Now, let's have a look at this structure. Does this look like the beginning of a big wave 3? Well, then it has to be a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you want to see fireworks to the upside, where this resistance area above price, sitting between 30.5k and 30.7k, should not mean anything. It can have a bit of resistance over here, but you want to see bullish CVD divergences building up when we are testing this resistance, for then a push towards the upside, where the next target area that I would be looking for is between 31.1k and 31.3k. If we go to the bearish scenario on the micro time frame, then we could be looking in an impulsive structure, so a 5-wave move, for then a wave 3, 4, and then a wave 5, or a WX and then eventually continuation in a Y, right? That's the bars pattern. That's for the more bearish scenario to the downside. Now, in this particular scenario, let's start with the wave 5 structure, where this is the high of a wave 4. Couple of things. This wave 4 over here then has to be a 3-wave structure like this, which can potentially be a double zigzag or anything else. But what I don't really like is that the 0.618 hasn't been respected that nicely, and the most common target for a WXY over here hasn't been reached between the 1 and the 1.236. Now the 0.618 is common, it's just a little bit less common than the upper 2 over here. After this wave 4, you then want to see an impulsive structure to the downside. But as it stands now, for me, this still does not look like an impulsive structure. Like with today, it was a very confusing day as well. But you want to see a 5-wave move to the downside, and this looks like an expanding diagonal. Well, you know, those are very, very rare. Can this be some sort of a diagonal still in a zigzag pattern, like a 5, 3, 5? Well, how do you count this in a 5-wave structure as an impulse? You know, it's very confusing. And because I can't really count a nice impulse over here, my bias is like the whole day, it's like I'm still looking for 30.5k. I can't help it. It's just like, where is the 5-wave move to the downside over here, right? I missed the downside move, basically. It could potentially be an expanding flat A, B, and then a C in wave X, but then that means we're not going down and stay here for a very long time, but it's going to be more like a wick and then back up in an A, B, and then a wave C, because that's also a pattern that can exist in a wave X. So yeah, it looks to be more corrective to me, meaning that I still expect price to go to 30.5k. And not saying we can't first take the low then in a 3-wave structure, right? But yeah, it's just something that currently my feeling says this is the case. If we then look at the WXY, this wave X can take a little bit longer, where this is only the first structure. Then we have a second structure for then eventually continuation in a wave X, where we then have a move 1 over here, then a 2, and eventually a 3rd wave to the upside. Wave X, then common target, is currently having confluence with the white area over here, the resistance area between 30.5k and 30.7k, which is quite interesting. So this target area over here, this white resistance box, is very, very interesting and very important for price on the lower time frames. Now CVD has been, it's been crazy with CVD, to be honest. And also, if I show you this picture quick over here, then you can see, posted this in Discord, we had bullish CVD divergences played out. Small bearish ones over here played out as well, price moving down. Then we had small bullish ones played out, the bigger bearish ones over here, and these also played out now with this push towards the downside. It's been a complete mess basically on the lower time frames, from bull to bear to bull to bear. Very, very confusing indeed. And currently, if we zoom in to this structure over here on the 15-minute, actually, let's go to the 5-minute. Then you can see we actually have some bearish CVD divergences again, lower high on price, but already on yellow, a higher high. Not really what you want to see for price moving up, but hey, you know, it's very low time frames. It's been a confusing day already. And on blue, one could argue some bullish CVD divergences with this low over here. But yeah, it's a crazy day with the CVD. All of these, however, played out. So for the scalpers, it's been a brilliant day. But if we zoom out, then this bullish CVD divergence is still active, with the target being 30.5k over here. So that is quite interesting. And then we have to wait and see if this bearish divergence might play out, if price is going to make a high over here, for then potentially more downside, because we also have this bearish divergence. It's a little bit less nice compared to the bullish one, as the bullish one has more structure compared to only one little candle over here. We do have news today. We have news on a Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. So make sure you trade safe around those hours. And if we look at the probabilities, well, you know, it can be quite, at least a little bit boring maybe. Low time frame neutral, micro neutral. If I look at the low time frame scenarios between the bullish and the bearish one, then at the moment I still favor more downside. I suppose it depends a little bit on how price is going to react around this wide target area. That for me is very important if price is going to get here. And on the micro, well, as mentioned, it doesn't really look like an impulse. So I'm still looking for upside to this wide target box. I can't help it. It's really the feeling that I have, and we have to wait and see what price does. Make sure you trade your plan, trade safe, trade your entry requirements, and follow your plan. So I hope this video was helpful or valuable to you. Please check out the most recent educational video I've made about the best trading indicator you can use, in my opinion. And for now, thanks for watching and subscribing, and I'd like to see you at the next one. Bye bye.